Audio test. Can everyone hear us? All right. Okay. Do we need to adjust the audio? We got some more people. This interns, can we introduce yourself? So I'm Siege Camp Catapult. Let's just go in order on the stream. I believe that's Siege Camp Carly. Could you say something just to make a?
Yep. Hey guys, Siege Camp Charlie here.
All right. Next, who do we got? Hello, guys.
Siege Camp Marlborough here.
Siege Camp Marlborough, perfect. Just next, we have I believe it's Siege Camp Trevor.
Yep.
All right, excellent. Does anybody else want to say anything? We've got a lot
Siege
of
Camp
interns.
Defender here, as usual, defending Siege Camp.
Yep,
Alright.
Siege Camp alive here as well. I'm alive, I'm not dead.
All right.
Siege Camp Interpreter here. I'm here to monitor the chat for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And Siege Camp Big Intern here.
Siege Camp Major Intern.
Holy fuck, guys, come on.
Siege Camp Foxhole. I play Foxhole.
Alright, Siege Camp KDD. I'm the lore writer for this. Let's have a good stream.
All right.
Siege Camp.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm Siege Camp Major Intern. I'm here just to make sure everyone falls in line.
All right, and everyone in the chat, the audio is good. No one's upset. Okay, perfect. Well, anyways, let's get on with it. We should get on with our stream. So let's get on with Foxhole Finest Hour. I think everyone's been waiting so long for. All right, so welcome to DevStream 66. So this is for update 66. And let's just quickly go over what we think as a Siege Camp interns is important. So quickly, our vision. Here at Siege Camp, we really want to build immersive, persistent online world driven by players. We're doing that by having thousands of players working together to achieve a common goal. Gameplay first approach to development and a continuous commitment to innovation. So by working together with the main Siege Camp studio, we're hoping to provide new updates for our players and ensure that the Foxhole project continues for quite a bit. Oh yeah, continual improvement, that too, that's important. All right, so let's just go over quickly the technical team. So you may have noticed we have a lot of new people. You can go over really quick. Unfortunately, just in time, we're going to quickly kind of gloss over some. So we got Catapult, myself, technical lead. I'm a vision leader, lead videographer. Big intern, he's our naval development lead. Charlie, balance, interpreter, community manager. Trevor, he's here. Defender, backup designer. Marlborough, RTS, geographer. Alive, Batman, intern. We have a lot, and also we have our model team, so give a shout out to Siege Camp Foxhole, outsourced artist, Spartan, major intern, random guy, paid artist, IED expert, ping pong, janitor, underpaid artist, KDG, paid artist. So we'll quickly go over to the roadmap. This is going to be a little bit of a longer dev stream than we normally do. So update 64, we saw already the main team's working on it. Thanks to your feedback, we've gotten good reception so far, and we're hoping to continue with like these new 6-week updates. So following update 64, we'll have update 65 in 6 weeks, like another minor update. And then lastly, update 66. They're doing a minor update, but we've been given the chance to do a major update, which is Finest Hour. So, and development, as always, will continue in late 2026. So the future of Foxhole is pretty bright. we have a lot to go over. So stay strapped and grab some popcorn. We can.
Do we want to talk about the morning meeting had with Markfoot?
No. He promised us a pizza party if we didn't talk about that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All right. Let's just go off. People have been wanting this for a long time, ever since 1.0 came out. Get some new merch. So
I can talk about this if you
yeah,
want.
sure. Let's talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I figured before we'd hop into the actual gameplay changes, we'd go into the merch. We know everyone loves the Vision. Everyone just loves the Vision. So figured throw that on a shirt, put the logo on the back. Who doesn't love the Vision? Thought as well, get that Siege Camp doormat, live, laugh, scroop. Who does not love to scroop? So come home, remind yourself why you're doing it every day. You're living, you're laughing, you're scrooping. Warden version up there at the moment. However, there will be a Colonial version down the line. Figured also throw in some Siege Camp underwear. You know, got boxers there. We currently have lingerie in development. I believe Trevor is currently wearing a pair himself for quality control. But those are still in testing phase. Down the line, hopefully we'll have full production to show you. Got the mugs as well. Who doesn't love sipping on Warden tears if you're Collie, or Collie tears if you're a Warden? Goes both ways. And then we do have one faction specific. The Wardens get their pack of darts. I mean, sorry, Collies, but Wardens got their SIGs.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else to add onto the merch? I think it's a pretty universally loved feature, and we're sorry
There is a little bit more I will talk about. However, I know it comes up a little bit later, so I can mention that when that comes up.
All right. Perfect.
Got one hit.
People are saying there's no sound on the slides.
Uh-oh. Why?
Can we get Siege Camp Medic on this case?
I think we need to add.
Got one hit.
You're gonna want to lock the Google.
Yeah, Google fast.
All right. So sorry about that. You know, trying to get the audio.
Lock the
working.
Google slides. People saw the Google link. They can just take it and copy it.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Let's Okay. All right. Who wants to talk about the bug fixes?
I can talk about this again if you'd like.
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
no
Go
one else
ahead.
wants to. Sure. So these are just some common feedbacks that we had again. Phantom reload bug. Everyone knows what that is. Just reload your gun and it just doesn't work. It tends to be in a laggy. Oh wait, I'm seeing the people saying there's an echo.
Yeah, refresh your page and you'll see it.
I'm gonna pause for a sec, see if we can get that fixed.
Yeah, sorry
Try
guys,
now.
we're having some technical difficulties. Are we still having technical difficulties?
Is there still an echo, guys?
Do we
It's
still
good
have the
now?
echo? Are we good?
It's fixed. Oh. Okay. So we're back to it. So yeah, the Phantom reload bug. It's been fixed. So that's everyone knows. Just reload your gun, and tends to be in a laggy hex. Just go to fire, and it just never reloaded. We figured out what was causing that. Went for a fix. Same thing with the bandage and bino. You go to pull one of those out or use it, and you go through the animation, and suddenly it just never applied. Figured out what was causing that. Fixed that. So when you pull it out, it actually now pulls it out. Very similar, infinite tripod. When you go to pick up a large item on the ground, a tripod, listening kit, shell, any large item that's on the ground, you go to pick it up, and it just perpetually does the infinite animation of picking it up. That needs to be fixed, and we figured out how to do that. There is also a niche case where you get a certain distance from the border, and your game freezes for a second. This is about 80 meters or so, I want to say. It may have been 80 to 120. It was somewhere right around the no drop zone. And right as you cross this imaginary line, your game freezes for a second, and then suddenly you're back. Figured out what that was. It was an interaction with the borders, I believe, and we have fixed it. This next one, actually, I don't know that much about. I know someone else in here identified this bug, if someone else wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, Siegecamp Charlie, do you want to talk a lot about this? You've been like very excited for this bug fix.
Okay, so there was problems raised where we had Intel centers in Onyx, and we couldn't target them into Terminus. So because of the weird map, how the new hexes are added, we saw that as an issue, and so that is now fixed. And so we're also now doing it for the other hex borders, so Kudra Stand and Callums. We found this a fundamental bug to fix, and so we're gonna fix it. Shouldn't take that much, but it's something crucial that should get fixed.
One more thing we want to talk about is how the test servers will be a lot more exhaustive and longer. And so, especially with the 6-week development cycle and trying to iterate and build upon game design, we want to really stress tests. And so, part of the way we want to reward players who use the test server and really help give us feedback. Players who find major bugs will be mentioned in the bug fixes and credited for reporting bugs. And we hope this is a really good way to incentivize players for helping us track issues and actually resolve them.
All right. Let's continue. We got more bug fixes to go over. Ooh.
So yeah, a big issue that was being found was when players were crossing a border, they would find themselves actually playing on a different shard. I think this only impacted about 0.01% of the player base. This has been finally fixed. So imagine you're on Charlie and you're playing around, and you cross the border, and then suddenly you're crossed into like the normal hex that you were actually crossing into, but you're now unable. And so this has been completely resolved. This is fixed. This is no longer an issue. For all the players who were being impacted by this, we're sorry that you had to deal with this. It should no longer be a thing. Players having access to developer stockpiles. There are developer stockpiles that we have around. These are for testing when we're designing and like trying to mess around with stockpiles and fix them. This has now been changed. So this was just like kind of an access code leak that happened. So this should be resolved. Magnet boxes being found on Live Wars fix. So we do have loot rooms spread across the map. These are resolved. They're no longer an issue. Basically, if you enter these rooms, you kind of get like teleported out of them, so no longer just happens. And then players having access to stockpiles didn't have codes were fixed. We're still not too sure how this happened, but there were times where players would type in a code like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then they get access to someone's stockpile. This is no longer a thing. So no longer will you type in the code and actually accidentally have access to someone's stockpile.
All right, let's continue. So, who's in charge of this border edition?
This was going to be me again.
Go ahead.
So we're redoing some of the supporters edition perks, adding in some stuff to give some people some extra perks for helping support us. So the supporter and veterans edition was something that we introduced last InternStream. So if you have them, it will kick the lowest rank out of a hex and when you're trying to enter, so you can automatically enter instead of having to wait in a queue. Just, little thank you. Similarly, if you have the edition, you can call the interns directly at our new office in Winternoom, Australia. Of course, long distance and time zones do apply, so got a call at 3 a.m. However, we know that most of our tryhard fan base is already playing at 3 a.m. as it is. Supporter Veterans Edition can also vote for what is to come in the next updates, because we know those guys are definitely who the people need to listen to. Then this is the one I was the most happy for. So now when you boot up Foxhole, Foxhole will get access to your webcam, and we are using AI to detect if you are wearing Foxhole merch. If you buy that Vision t-shirt and you are wearing the shirt, it will no longer use a shirt when you respawn. Similarly, we are getting this worked for the doormat. You set up your camera in front of your house and just live stream the front of your house, and you just will not use a shirt. We're trying to get it worked with the underwear and stuff as well. Like I said, Siege Camp Trevor has the quality control on the lingerie. I just keep asking him to send me photos of it so I can try to run it through the AI, but he just keeps sending me photos of himself in regular lingerie.
Yeah, it was a bit of an issue, but I think, as we work more with Trevor in the testing and development phase for the lingerie detection, we should be able to iron that out and actually have Siege Camp lingerie finally be able to be sold on the store.
Yep, so that's what we're hoping to bring in the Supporters Edition.
The new Phonetic Drift, I know a lot of players have been really asking for this, especially when they look at their maps and they feel as if their faction doesn't have any actual personality. And so now with the new maps, wardens have their own names for places within regions, and colleagues have their own names as well. And so particularly currently these are just examples. Now I know like some colleague players may feel like they may have gotten the short end of the stick. We will be iterating and working upon. Remember, this is just an example. Some of these will be going to live soon, but wardens will have the current preset home region names and active names for regions, and then colleagues will have the new versions that they'll have to use whenever they're referring to things in like places found on the map.
All right, who's which intern did this again? Who's fucking idea was this?
That was you.
Oh,
you
it was
did,
me?
You did this one.
I
You
don't know.
remember?
Yeah, I think that one was you.
Yeah, I think this one was you.
Maybe it was. Right. So all weapon audios matches the actual fire rate. So we would have this issue in the game where you'd like fire 10 bullets, and then the audio would sound like you're unloading an entire magazine. This was kind of against our intention. We were trying to make players like count each other's shots and whatnot. And people have been making mods to fix this, so we thought just to fix it ourselves. Sounds are heard from a much longer distance, so especially if you have like this, we really enjoyed like the environmental storytelling that we have in this game, where you have distant gunfire and stuff going on. So like for instance, if you hear like artillery landing, you'll just hear it like from further away, and we think it's like really good to like immerse the player. Like even if you're off the front lines, slowly gets louder and louder the battle that's actually taking and unfolding. We thought that'd be just something really cool and going around. Audio is detected around the player's character models. So if you're using your binoculars, you don't hear like what the binoculars are seeing. You hear what's still around you. This was kind of a thing that a lot of players were getting confused by, because you just get like stabbed in the back because you didn't hear someone walking around you or a tank going near you. And also your binoculars, they don't amplify sound, right? That didn't make any sense. Yeah. I think Ping Pong made some of these changes, right? Didn't you?
I might have been involved to some capacity.
Yeah, you want to take it from here?
Oh yeah, we're making the sound a hell of a lot more dynamic. You see, sort of adding in 3D spatial audio, stereo sound, not just mono. So going in from left to right, everything's a lot more amplified. We've also got some. I campaigned for this one quite heavily. We've got listening kit. The audio cues faction dependent. So the wardens, being from the north and stuff, they got a list out for wolves and other sort of predators that might be in a sort of wintry environment. So naturally their hearing's a lot better. So they're going to be able to hear a listening kit from a lot further out than say Southern Colonial would, who wouldn't have to worry about such predators living in a pampered environment. Players inside vehicles, so if you're in a truck, you're driving along with your mates. The conversation you're going to have with your mates, you're going to be able to hear them inside tanks and stuff. But for anybody who's outside listening in, it's all going to be muffled, really. You can have like metallic filters if it's in a tank, or if it's in a truck, it might be a bit more audible. And if it's an open top vehicle, so it's not as muffled. And then we have a squad chat radio filter that we've added in as well to add to the realism of Foxhole. Everything you hear through squad chat, instead of it being now really loud, it's really loud and crackled, because squad chat before was disproportionately louder than local chat. It now has a nice radio filter over the top of it just to add to that experience, to make it a hell of a lot more dynamic.
Yeah, we really wanted to give like the perception that like you are like a player actually in a battlefield for the players that mattered to. So audio is really really key to immersion. So we thought just to revamp it, especially how players interact with audio or give audio. All right.
I'd like to ask. I saw people voicing their concerns in chat that if what do you think? Do you think that gas masks will also have this effect of having your voice be muffled?
Well, yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
So having the gas mask now is no longer just like a straight upgrade. If you have a gas mask, it comes with ups and downs, as it should. We might have in further testing the ability that like it applies like restriction of vision, so that way there's actually a strategic imperative to like equip and take off your gas mask as you would real life, potentially like reducing the stamina. So we'll see.
Stamina already is reduced.
Yeah, stamina's already been reduced. Okay, that will come out in.
Yep.
I trust one of the interns right now is working on the DevStream Q&A, right? Perfect.
I shall say that if you wear a gas mask in a tank, it will have compounding effects.
Okay, can I
so
go to
you
the
will
next
be
slide?
even more muffled.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Who's talking on this?
If we got no one, I can do it again.
Yeah,
But
go ahead.
yeah, so squad changes, customizable color name tag for both people in your regi and in your squad. Just to help differentiate stuff. Then also squad regiment changes, increase your squads up to 5. 4 is just barely too limiting. It literally is just a brink of just one more would fix a lot of stuff. Because there's the frontline Logi, FAC, and then usually want to have one for your friends and then also one for a separate group. Literally 5 is just the perfect number. Increase the members in a squad up to 100. A lot of regis this does not matter anything for, but for a lot of those bigger regis, 420ish, stuff like that, we know that they are a larger group and they need more people in their squad. Again, customizable color name tag for people in your regi and squad. The squad takes priority over regi, but then if you're in the same region and you see a guy that's in your regiment that's not in your squad, you just can quickly add them into your squad. You can search the F1 menu for people in your regiment and squad. We're trying to apply it to, you can just search for a name as a whole. At the moment, we've only gotten it to, you could search for people in regiment and in squad. Then also, very important, we added a last logged in button on the regiment menu, so you could sort it by when they last logged in. Because again, with some of these regiments, you just have it too big that you can't know every single person. So you're sitting there and like, has that person logged in recently? I just don't know. Now you can see when they last came in, played the game, and then if they've been sitting there for 6 months, a year, and you need to make space in the regiment, that may just be who you have to do. Then also, currently as it is, there is no rank system in regiments. It's either you own the regiment, you're an officer, or you're just a member. It's literally 3 things at the moment. Now we are adding in a little bit more of role play. You can make someone a sergeant. You can make someone a private. You can make someone a lieutenant. Same thing as as the ranks actually in the game, just applied only to the regiment, and no one else will be able to see it. You can only see it in the regiment screen. It's got no actual effect on the gameplay, other than the wearing an officer uniform. But otherwise, it's just for RP.
We wanted more like capabilities for regiments and squads to like have more customization options and immersion for players who wanted to partake it. We understand that that's not important for all players, but for the people who want it, it's definitely there.
Now, Alive, is there a possibility of the max squads being increased to maybe 6 or 7 from 5?
I believe we're trying to figure out the technical limitations of it. Just at the moment, we've gotten it to 5, and 5. Quite honestly, if you just let it keep going up to like 10 or something, it just becomes too many. Having it at 6, 7 could be feasible in the future, but at the moment, just kind of want to keep it at 5.
Perfect.
All right, let's continue on that. So general quality of life changes. Somebody who I forget who changed this. We have a lot of people on the team now. It's not just this happy few.
I could probably take this if you want.
Again, this was your slide. What are you doing?
Shut up. Okay. Anyways, reintroduced. I'm sorry. Anyways, we'll talk about it later. We introduced custom text characters into the game. We had a lot of players complain because they were using Unicode symbols to advertise their regiments, and we put it back. I don't know why we took it out. It just kind of baffled me. Bullet tracers are much more visually accurate when they scan physical hip scan bullets. So like your tracers actually reflect where your bullets are going before. Prior, they were just essentially they were just effects. So now we decided to keep it with the hit scan. So when the hit scan, like for players who don't know what a hit scan is, basically how the game registration works for like bullets is that it just as soon as you click your button and the server receives it, it draws a line to like wherever it's touching. There's no actual projectile going. So as soon as you click it, then it will generate a tracer to go along with it. There's no more like these fake tracers that exist in the game just for visual flair, because they kind of conserve to, at least in our opinion, and we're using like a blur effect, so it looks doesn't like ruin the look of the game. But that way, your tracers actually go where you're shooting and not just where we think they would look cool. Pressing Q will automatically crouch. I'll access your tripod weapons. I think we saw that in the video. So when you go up to a tripod, regardless of what stance you are in, you automatically will go into the crouch position. So if you are going prone and you try to equip a tripod, there's no more like, oh no, I need to crouch. Oh no, I need to get up. It just automatically puts you into the crouch position and puts you in animation to do it. If you move, it'll cancel the animation just in case you get like, dirked or whatnot. The F1 menu has additional friend tab list, so this was a long suggested change. There's actually in-game notifications that you can also equip, which lets you know if your friends are online and if they're in region. So it's really similar to, we took inspiration from some other games where they have nice friend features, and we thought this would be something really cool to add. It's also really good for coordination. So let's say like you just realized, you get a little pop-up that says, oh, this other person I play with all the time just joined, and then you can start playing with them. So we thought it'd be something really cool to add. Okay. More general quality of life. Does Trevor want to take this? Trevor?
I can keep going if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Trevor's still sipping right now. Oh, yep. There.
Okay, never mind. Okay, you can take it, Charlie.
Yeah, he's busy with that beverage. So we added a kill cam, allowing players to see who killed them. It'll help out with that whole cheating accusations. Not as prevalent these days. We try to crack down on it when we can, but this will help just manage the reports and stuff. And also, if someone hits a sick 360, gotta be able to see it. Added CVs now MPF and crates of 100. Just obvious change there. Obvious. Weather stations give an estimated storm starting time in hours. Just a little bit something there. Weather stations at the moment still need a little bit of figuring out by the community to figure out how they work. The mechanic does work, guys. Just need to figure out how it works. So giving a little bit of a breadcrumb there to help give a estimated starting time. Character models also visually open a map. If they pull up the map, just characters now going to be 2 hands, map open, so you can see if you can ambush an enemy because they're just staring at the map. Then same thing, if they have a radio equipped and are looking at the map, going to have 1 in each hand. Same thing, if they're going through their inventory, you might be able to get a jump on them because you can see visually they're looking through their backpack.
All right, excellent. Do we have people are asking in the chat if you'll get a kill cam from like an RSC? Is there like a limit to the kill cam, or is there like a range limit, or how does that work?
Yeah, if it's too far away, you're gonna get that old Battlefield 4 effect where it's a orange person just sitting 1,000 meters in the distance, and it's just gonna zoom in on them if you know what I'm talking about.
Ah, I see.
I'd also like to mention a concern. What happens if someone gets team killed? Will their kill cam become tied to the friendly player that killed them?
Oh yeah, 100%, and it's gonna follow them a little bit afterwards, just in case they do a teabag or so you can report them for being toxic as well.
Is that against TOS to teabag someone?
Not necessarily, but I know you're gonna be mad about it,
Probably.
so you're gonna submit a report.
Right.
It depends on how many times they teabag you. We actually do monitor and make sure the amount of teabags you count towards a kind of timer, and then you get banned.
Yeah, some
There's a limit.
people are suggesting that like the artillery is going to cause like reveal RA locations. I think Ping Pong, didn't you work on this? I think we had a discussion about this in Orion.
What about artillery detection?
Yeah, well the methods we did to mitigate it.
Yeah, I think so. If somebody's killed from say like an RSC or an RC gun that's really far away, it's blurred, it's pixelated just to not like see where they are, because you could possibly get killed by RC and then see their entire position and defenses around as well. That's especially the case with RSCs. And there's also the problem of getting killed across borders too from say regular SC or an RSC op. There's a couple limitations with that in game.
Yeah,
so there
when you
might be
get
a
killed
screen that
across
says
border,
kill cam not available, or go ahead.
when you get killed across the border, currently we have it set so that you'll actually have to go through a traveling across border animation, and then you can finally see the kill cam.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
I think
That's also
the
work
kill
around
cam
because
is restricted to Veterans Edition, isn't it?
that's
It's something we have in the works.
Yeah, it's a paid feature.
Yeah, we may be only
Don't talk about
restricting
new
the
features.
veterans.
Oh yeah, sorry. It'll come out later.
very experimental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. at the
Just a
moment.
reminder on time.
Oh yeah, of
Reminder on
course, of
time.
course. Let's ooh, red dots. Okay. I think it was you, Defender, who made this, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of something a lot of players have been asking about. Visual cues, just more helpful UI fixes and more UI changes and things that we can, if we can give the players more information on amounts or just cues or things that are going on within their environment, we should give it to them. And so we already have the fuel gauge on other items, on other structures in the game. And so it just made sense to take this and transport it onto our field trucks and our fuel containers as well. And this also works. So if there is let's say a flatbed that has a fuel container that's stored on top of it, you can still see the fuel gauge as well. So like if you're a partisan, right, you don't want to waste your fucking time as a partisan taking down. Sorry, I swear that's my bad. Can we not mention that with HR? Like, let's just forget that. But if you see a flatbed carrying a fuel container going to the front line, you don't want to kill one that's just empty, that's leaving the front line. Now you can tell whether or not that fuel container is empty.
Yeah, we also wanted to prevent the instance of we had like the Sisyphean task of like trying to find heavy oil for your battle tank, and you go up to a fuel truck and it's empty, and you go to a fuel container, it's empty. We actually had I think it was 8 players who wrote tickets about how they quit the game after doing that. So we want to make sure that we don't lose players to things like that anymore. There might be more
I was
developments.
just-
Oh, go ahead.
I was just remembering, was there something we were missing from the slide about the storage size, or is that coming later?
It'd come later. We might test
Okay.
in Dev Branch as well, like the color of the vehicle. So like we have yellow right now for diesel. It might just automatically change depending on, or the icon may change depending on what's actually the liquid that's inside the fuel truck. So that way you don't waste your time going into a fuel truck that's got nothing in it, or you go to a fuel truck that's got, well, the wrong kind of fuel in it. Okay, I think head to the next one. All right. I think we have our resident lore expert who will be talking about this.
All right, so the new lore items.
Yes, yes.
They're going to be. Let me find the exact slide. 'Cause I got there. It is. The lore items will be spread out across the new maps. Basically to add a little bit more story to the regions that they'll be in. There will be some, let's just say, quest lines related with two of these. I don't think I can go too much
Three of
into
them.
detail.
Three,
Three of them, yes,
three of
yes.
them. It's three.
Sorry, three of them. Got off the top of my head. So you'll see that later on once the update actually comes live and you get the dev branch. But just be prepared for the new items.
We also have some concept art as well to show some of the
Yep.
lore items. So honestly, we shouldn't worry, I think, too much about talking about
Yeah.
necessarily where the lore comes from. I think players can kind
True.
of gauge for themselves.
Yep. I think it's really just you just have to see it. All right.
All right, finally. I think this one's exciting. I think a lot of players are going to be really happy about this one. We finally decided to go back to a big, large part of the map and decided to do a rework. Currently, looking at current player feedback and seeing how players are thinking about the Bulwark, a lot of players talked about how there are too many gaps and like there are too many spots where partisans can get through. And so instead of just having one Bulwark, why don't we just have two, right? This makes a lot more sense. And so we decided to double the Bulwark, but on top of that, next slide, please. On top of that, and so as you can see in the yellow, we outlined places where we gave more wall. Kingstone now has its own bulwark, as well as the island affectionately known as Cuba also has its own little wall as well. We decided to add every single red dot on this map represents a keep, and so we've decided to add more keeps to the map. Hopefully, this creates more player-driven activities where players can actually interact with each other. And so maybe we'll see a version of map where Warden and Colonial keeps are on one side of each of the walls, and we can see how players will be able to fight against each other early war. But currently, we're still messing around. We might add a few more keeps because this may not be enough, but hopefully players will be a little satisfied with how much we've added here, at least on the map. And then I think no one can forget, we are adding the Bulwark barbed wire option. So, and this will be for a future change that's coming in on the next slide. With the Bulwark, you can now add barbed wire on top of it. And so normally for most sections, it's 46 barbed wire per one section, but some sections may require 100 plus barbed wire. And the idea of this is to prevent people from leaping over the Bulwark. And so if someone has like some sort of infantry maneuverability device and they're trying to get over the bulwark, the barbed wire will stop them and actually enforce damage and prevent the player from going in over the bulwark.
Yeah, we were a bit afraid that this would buff collies too much, so I think Ping Pong, you worked on really hard on an asset that would help Warden players.
Me and Ping Pong argued a lot over this, actually.
Yeah, this was against my best wishes.
Oh, wait.
Never this to happen.
We got something before that. All right. I believe it was it Trevor? I think Trevor. We'll get to the bulwark countermeasure soon.
Trevor here?
Trevor?
Okay, I'm gonna go over to oh, he's here.
Trevor,
Okay.
are you able
I
to
think
speak?
he's still recovering from the after party, I think.
Oh yeah.
And he just cracked another beer.
Yeah, the siege camp investors after party. Okay.
Yeah, I think I can go over the slides as well. I
Yeah,
have to
go
work
ahead,
on
go
this. So, as you saw in the video, the Great Warden Dam can now be breached. Part of the inspiration that came from this was the idea of levolutions, and so imagine large-scale permanent changes which change how the map is played. And so right now we're thinking about making it so that the Great Warden Dam can be breached, and so this will be tested on live next war. The dam will now have 5 damage states. You will have to repair it with BMATs and metal beams. There will be a faction-wide warning when the dam changes damage states as well. And there are different ways to damage the dam. There is no friendly fire, sadly, for damaging the dam, so wardens cannot damage the dam when they have control of it, and collies cannot damage the dam when they have map control of it. Hopefully, this makes the game a little more interesting. I know a lot of players keep on complaining about how whenever they play the wars always feel like the same thing over and over again. And so, with adding this new, what we like to call levolution in other games, this evolution will hopefully make the game feel a little more interesting and make wars feel different.
All right, so this is the map before. Everyone knows it, and then here is after the after the dam breach. So it'd be really interesting for players to you know, see what happens, and especially in like an East versus West scenario. We might add more map evolution changes, especially as they pertain to naval, and yeah, so it might definitely change and shake up the game. We really want players to be able to have wars be different, and whether that be you know, taking out a Dan, or maybe that's using like a rocket and it affects something else. I think having these scenarios would be something really cool, because it's not guaranteed to happen, right? So you'll have people really working towards it, and then we'll have other people, you know, going towards things. Yes, unfortunately, someone asked in the chat, if I build like a facility in here, will it get washed away? The answer is yes. So, but you know, be aware.
Can I quickly add something on this?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, with the Levolution, we also added the ability to place naval piers on more spots when after the Levolution happens. You can also place railroads on naval piers.
Yeah. Also, someone was asking, now, yes, there is water in Reach and Trail. You just have to, the dam has to blow up so that the river goes through it. So that was the compromise. We unfortunately, due to coding limitations, could not add water to Reach and Trail. It just doesn't work, unfortunately. So, but using this, it changes enough map data that we can actually go through it.
This is one version of the dam flood. There are multiple other versions that can occur. So I believe we have at least 10 different simulated versions where if the dam breaks, instead of the main just like straight south regions flooding, the entire east region can flood, an entire west region can flood as well. And there are different iterations as well.
But this
Very
would
dynamic.
really expand gameplay and, you know, add a whole new way to play the game. So you can't just like look at this map and be like, oh well, I'm on this area, so like you know, I'm safe. Well, that's definitely not going to happen. It's different every single time. So it's really a gamble. Like if the Colonials want to go and try to destroy the dam by using a nuke or a huge bombing raid, and you also have to like consider like what would it do to the rest of the players who exist in this hex. So, but just remember, nothing in this game is permanent. So don't be mad if you lose it.
I'm hearing concerns from chat. How are wardens supposed to cross the gap in the middle of the dam after it's destroyed? Are they supposed to build field piers?
Oh well, that's why we have the transport plane. Like
transfer planes, along with the new field pier expansion, you can build rails and you can also build provisional roads on piers.
Yep.
I believe it was also a thought, not currently in, but since the dam will be breached and it's going to drain a lot of the water from above, there might be a passage above the dam.
Yeah. But as well, you might have someone like using a ferry service. Like that's definitely up for players to go through.
Yeah, that's actually part of the vision.
Let's make sure we keep on time, by the way.
Yeah, of course, of course. I believe, do we have our level designer here?
I am here, yes.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Yes, it is I, Sichuan Foxhole. I worked, I told, on the jungle
click twice on the slides.
and mountain and desert regions. So it was a long undertaking to revamp the map, to get all of those regions correctly placed and designed. And you'll see a lot of detail in the next upcoming slides as to the design of the maps. some particularities of the jungle biome maps is that you'll have a much more amphibious warfare. Some places are just devoid of bridges, so you'll have to make do with the new amphibious things that are revealed in the splash art. Also, due to the dense forest, the building is going to be limited. It's going to be a actually a war scenario where if the wardens win a war, the playable hexes will be pushed back into the colonial jungle. This will not be available in every war to not make every war be very long. We can go to the next slide.
Yeah.
And we will see the jungle concept art.
Mm-hmm. So are we going to? So this is triggered just to make sure everyone, because some people are asking. This is triggered like after, say, like the colonials lose, you'll go into the jungle where the colonials have essentially a huge advantage, and it's like replacing resistance phase. Is that how this is going?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we wanted to change like how resistance phase, and we might. I think we have a northern like expansion coming in later updates, but we just thought to get this one down.
It is a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. So don't expect it this update. This might come out later this year. But the idea is to replace kind of like the how do you say the resistance phase. We want to make the resistance phase like something like players actually want to come towards. It's a break period. It's not as serious. There's restrictions for building, so you and there's a lot more like free resources, and it's a way to play the game differently and something to look forward to when like the main war is over. All right, so I'll just press the slides whenever you want.
Yeah, this is the main concept art of the piece. I did this one to showcase the amphibious tanks that will be talked about further. And the jungle terrain will have a lot of elevation and a lot of rain and clouds hovering, and might also have fog scenarios like fog weather. We haven't expanded this and
We want to talk
included
about
this
the vision, like how it came through your design.
Yeah, we are
and like
committed
what the design
to
process was like, and we were envisioning what players would see.
Yeah,
because everybody loves Umbral Wildwood so much.
Yeah, we are committed to innovation, and I think this is some example of innovative design. We haven't showcased this in the art pieces, but there will also be swampy and muddy regions that will be hard to traverse by players.
All right.
We can go over to the next slide to showcase the mesa biome and desert biome. This will be a terrain that will be harsher to exist in. You're gonna have a heat stroke mechanic that will be introduced. You're not gonna catch on fire, but that would be really great. We have made some changes to the map and how mountains are managed. You can climb some rocks, specific rocks, not all of them. There are rock climbing mechanics that we will not expand upon on this dev stream. I think that's it for this slide.
Yeah, actually, this is something that me and Siege Camp Charlie worked on. Players will actually be able to find themselves being able to build on top of some of the mesas. And so this will force it to that for taking any sort of large column or mesa, you may find yourself as an attacker having to combine with our combined arms warfare strategy combining naval, air, land assets, and as well as the underground attack as well now. And so hopefully this gives players a little more options. So during a colonial losing faction, during resistance phase, if this is the map currently, Polys will need to find ways to build and strong fortifications, while Wardens will need to find ways to dismantle them.
Could someone ban the guy asking which AI they used to? These are all made by players. We don't use AI.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, okay, I
thank
got
you. Kill that
Yeah,
guy.
this is all player made.
We killed him.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
We do not endorse
I
AI
actually
slop.
made all of the environment designs. I am the lead concept designer for environments, and this is all human made.
All right, you want to continue to talk about your the last biome that we have in this new
The
region?
mountain biome. Okay, so we have a concept of a warden scenario, a warden loss scenario that is upcoming for the next update over. But this is the colonial mountain scenario. It's inspired by the Dolomites and the Southern Alps. Traversal is going to be really difficult. There won't be a lot of roads. Some hexes will be nigh inaccessible, but we are excited to see you guys fight there because there is a lot of different gameplay elements, lots of falling related injuries we're gonna see on the battlefield. We also designed these hexes to be unusable by most big tanks, and we're gonna most likely see lots of infantry battles, especially in some of the higher mountains that are even inaccessible by trucks. You'll have to bring pack mules to resupply your bases. Not much else to say. There will be some pre-placed artillery locations. You won't be able to place much artillery. There will be rebuildable using hammers and not CVs. This is a particularity of the mountain biomes. We cannot fit even CVs on some of those bridges on the mountain regions.
I think the next few
I think
slides
that's-
will do a really good job capturing what we're really trying to go for.
Yes, this is the mountain concept art. So lower mountains. We can see that. Oh, you skipped a bit too fast. Yes. We can see that there are pre-placed bunkers, and some of them are. Some of the bridges are traversable by light tanks only, and by infantry. Yeah, and this is the alpine biome that will be coming over in the next intern update. We don't have it yet because it's still in work, but we are still expanding upon it, and we wanted to show you this little teaser just to give you guys a little quick showcase of the next update we are really excited about showing you guys.
But like we said before, do you have the addition of the avalanche?
All right, now you can speak.
Oh. Guess it's my turn for that.
Yeah, go. You probably want to introduce
Okay,
yourself.
so
Just because you're a valued
yeah.
member in this community and Laura's an expert.
So I'm Siege Camp Charlie, back at it again with the building stuff. Bunker reservations and squad related changes. So we're adding regiment reservations. Facility reservations now last 1 week. And then this flags needed to demo thing. The way this will work is that whatever squad the builder squad reserves it to, it will take 5 members from that squad to flag. But for everyone else that's outside of that squad, it will take 10. So hopefully this will stop some griefing and other issues that come with facilities. Also, we've this is a big QL change. The bunker base's tech votes. It is steered towards the chosen tech. So, say you're favoriting howitzers, for instance. If you're the builder and you choose that, a star will appear onto the bunker. And once you log off, every tech that someone when someone sets their spawn and tech progresses, it will only go towards that one in particular. It's prioritized until the builder changes. So this is more of a band-aid solution, but we found this adequate for a better meta per. So the integrity calculation, we're putting it with the old formula, but the breachability calculation, we're keeping it. So the integrity will have the old integrity formula from pre-building update, but we're going to match it with a breaching thing because we've heard some complaints about the way that bunkers are. It's not very creative and stuff. Pallets can be placed on bunker pieces. Fire suppression rooms can now be fueled by fuel containers. This now includes the fuel trucks. Medical bunkers beside one another combine inventories. So if you have 2 medical bunkers beside one another, they're combined inventories as well. Medical bunkers also have an inventory slot for 2 crates of shirts and 2 crates of any small arms. So this means that you can have like a log caster and like a crate of shirts, but you can't have a log caster and like 7.62, for instance. All vehicles can now go over cover trenches now, not just the vehicles that couldn't. So.
Tango, there is a hold on, Mr. Catapult.
Yeah, what's up?
Can you hear me? One of our interns is out in the field, and he would like to show an example of like what's going on. Do you want to switch to the camera POV?
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
So it's currently Siege Camp Spartan is actually a lot of people are asking where we got a lot of our designs and like a lot of the creative ideas that we come up with. We like to actually go outside. So Siege Camp Spartan, as you can see here, he's outside collecting samples.
It's like Siege Camp
and
Spartan was on
building
the end of
upon.
the DDoS attack.
Might be.
Hello, fellow interns. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, Siege
Hey,
Camp
we can
Explorer.
hear you loud and clear.
I can
Hello.
count all your pixels. Too.
Hey, yeah, this is Siege Camp Spartan here. I'm the environmental sampler. So I'm currently in the wilds of Eastern Canada, looking for more samples and things to add into the game. So as you can see in front of me, I have lots of leaves. So we are planning on adding leaves to the game at some point with the new biomes. So there's going to be certain points where a bunch of leaves will fall and it'll disrupt logi and facilities, and you're going to need people with rakes going around and clearing all the leaves and putting them into piles. I know we wanted to talk about like creeks and stuff too, like smaller bodies of water, smaller than rivers for like the naval larpers. I know they're really gonna enjoy that. So we're also planning on seeing if we can do something about animals also. So we have like wildlife here. We have like bunnies and stuff. If you can see, you can pet them. It's very cute. And yeah. So I'm currently out in the field. I've been out for 2 weeks. They kind of just dropped me off in the middle of the woods. So I've kind of had to survive out here. So yeah, Siege Camp Spartan signing out.
We wish for your safe return.
Thank you.
There'll be consumables.
Test. Test.
All right. Sound should be
Yo.
back.
Sorry, my fault,
Okay.
guys.
Let me. Oh, there we go. That should.
See, this is why we don't go outside.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I think Spartan accidentally kicked one of the aux cords out.
Echo again. Echo.
Okay. We're back.
Yeah, there. Now it should go.
Okay. Howitzer changes. This first bullet point is serious. The other ones, they're up to you to decide. So
Echo.
tier 1 howitzers. Oh, is there still
Oh no, it's good. It's good now.
fixed? Okay. Tier 1 howitzers get 100 meters. Tier 2, 200, and Tier 3, 700. Howitzers now retaliate to any and all small arms, and the howitzer minimum range is reverted to 5 meters. So this means that if you're partisaning and you accidentally hit a howitzer garrison with your, say, fiddler, it's going to fire a mortar straight at you. And so this is a thing that it might be a bit hard to deal with, but now we're just encouraging people to use havocs on the howitzers instead of PvEing with like cutlers or loot.
Yeah, definitely subject to change in dead brands because it used to be that way where if you could damage the garrison, even a howitzer garrison, it would fire on you, and we took that away. Do you know if we're removing howitzer battles? Is that a feature that we tend to bring back? Someone was asking it.
Yes, we're gonna try to bring back that because that was pretty cool to see. It was a bit LARP, but it was a bit cool to see those back.
Yeah. And the howitzers, can they target aircraft?
That's up.
Yes.
We haven't discussed. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. We'll. It's subject to change. I think they have. Well, they're going to be using a different shell that we'll talk about a little bit later. So.
Mhm. Right.
Just in case the
So-
bottom right character isn't updated, this is not entirely genuine suggestion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Break character, guys.
The rest
Don't
of the
use that.
slides are good though.
Yes. So this is the last building slide. This is our builder QRL, QOL. So there's a new flatbed modification that allows construction equipment to be added on top. So this will mean that the construction equipment, its range is increased to 30 meters, and its fuel has been changed to coal. So 8 material costs 1 coal. CVs can now repair damaged structures in VIX. Blueprint placement time cooldown reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. So that should help with larger builds. Dev branch building quality of life. We saw that we wanted more testing, and the normal like ways to build were just kind of it wasn't fun for anyone. So 1 hammer or a shovel or a CV action is now worth 10. So that should make testing, especially like builder wise, a lot easier, and especially for planes. There's now a building tutorial in the Colonial Home region. Maintenance supply crates are no longer come out as disassembled crates. So we had that issue of like Mr. Engineering player decides, oh, I'm gonna grab some IMSUB crates from this crate transfer station, and he tries to submit them, and they just don't work. So to fix that issue of you having to go from a facility to a seaport and back to a bunker base, we're just going to allow you to. They're just going to come out as normal crates, basically. And also, these breaching mechanics and building mechanics may be reworked later. But yeah, they're all band-aid solutions to most things. So oh fuck. Sorry, the firm building letter that we got a while ago that just fell. I've been procrastinating a bit. So anyways, I'm gonna go not read that. Next slide.
Real quick though, I'm seeing questions in chat about only the tutorial in the colonial home region. Yeah, we were going to add it to the warden as well. However, we felt that they just didn't need it.
Yeah, warden building is years ahead of colonial building.
There's no need for it on the warden side. The college just need help.
Yeah.
They need as much help as they can get.
Right, medic rework. Oh, who's doing this? Did we forget about medic gameplay already?
This was you.
Oh,
Okay, real quick. Are you like I've no like am I we just want to say this like catapult, but your memory has been a little off lately.
no, it's not.
Yeah, these are your slides, man.
Like you made this slide like an hour ago.
Oh,
Oh,
You good?
no.
Are you good?
You need to talk to someone.
Could I
Okay, I can do the slides. I can do the slides.
a second.
Okay, so medical gameplay expanded. So now we actually have injury specific locations for soldiers who are injured out in the field. And so, for example, the player models expanded so that we now have the head, torso, arms, and legs, which require targeted treatment.
Wait,
and
no, I remember
inspection.
doing this one.
So as a medic, oh, you do remember?
Yeah. Wait, where do we start?
the start.
Oh, right.
Yeah, beneath medic
Yeah.
rework, that's where you start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so medic gameplay. You want to help me with this one? So we said the injuries.
Yeah. I already said injuries started, so your part is new damage states. That's what we agreed to.
Okay. And then bandages are visually represented on characters showing where a character has been treated. I don't think we have the models up for this one, right? I don't remember.
No, we do not.
Okay, good. So we wanted to have like a better visual representation of what the players are going through, and depending on what depending on where they've been shot, it adds a wound.
There'll be a bandage
Yeah.
directly where they've been injured.
Yeah, so you can see where they're injured because of the new system.
We also have new damage status and static effects. So there's light and heavy bleeding. We have gas poisoning now. There's fire. There's broken limbs and concussion injuries as well. The status effects basically impact your gameplay depending on which kind of status you have. And also, if you have multiple status effects on top of each other, they all combine at the same time. So you can imagine if you have a heavy bleeding with concussions, your screen is going to be really blurry, along with you bleeding out and eventually dying pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Catapult. Come on.
Oh yeah, and the revive.
Example of concussions here at the moment.
What? No, I've never been concussed.
No.
The revive timer, we increased it from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. That way, like when someone's like on the ground and they're going to bleed out, you got more time to go for it. 1 second, let me let's get one of these. All right, so someone can take over.
I mean, are you good?
Oh yeah.
We have 3 new health insurance providers now. So
We have
as a
Siege Camp
player,
Doctor.
you have to actually apply for a healthcare provider. There's Callahan's Shield, there's Theo's Cross. Those are all faction specific. So Callahan's Shield is Warden, Theo's Cross is Colonial. And then Clapfoot Care is kind of the neutral side where it doesn't have all the benefits that each one has, but it kind of covers almost everything.
Yeah, it's just like real life where I didn't get the care I needed because I didn't subscribe to it.
Yeah, and if you don't have one of these providers, you're kind of like it's gonna be bad for you, man.
You're gonna become a catapult.
Yeah, like that's not nice.
Click on the next slide.
Oh yeah, this is something that I wanted. Right.
Remember that one there?
Yeah, I remember this. So the bus, it's one of the most critical parts of the game. I think, if I remember correctly, there was a lot of feedback about the bus, and I've been driving the bus for a long time. before I stopped. And the things that pissed me off a lot were like the main entry. Like when I was like a kid, and I'd go on the bus, there would be the side, the door thing, and people would enter from there, but only one person could go in there because it copies the code from the truck, and everyone has to enter through the back. And the back of the bus is where the cool kids are, but like that's also not a good thing in different context. So we just made it that there's one big container that contains all the players, and that way you can enter from the side or the back. And but everyone still leaves through the back. This is really important because one of the critical things about buses is that they can do sick drifts, which is extremely important for the game. And we also noticed this happened, I think, post naval. For whatever reason, the physics changed for the Warden bus, but not the colonial one. And this was actually a reason why the Wardens lost like for 2 wars out of like the 50 they won that year. It was actually because they couldn't get the troops to the front and they weren't inspired to play because they couldn't drift properly. Lastly, we added some inventory slots. Uh, uh, we added some inventory slots so that way tripod weapons can get to the front. I've seen too many new players. They would come up to the bus with like a tripod and it would just drop on the ground, and then they get really sad. So we changed that. So that should be that should be good for that one. All right. Crane changes. Who's talking?
I can talk about this.
Yeah, either one of us.
Yeah. So we reverted to hotfix 163.35. Reason for the change has been otherwise patched out. So the reason why we made it so that cranes were specific, faction specific, was because of planes and how a lot of partisan players could just easily hop in a crane and destroy an airplane by packaging it. So now we've reverted the crane change. We found that it just unnecessarily restricts the gameplay loop for partisans. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that, like, as the front line's advancing, you can't capture the cranes that are on the front line and use them. It also doesn't make sense that, like, a lot of long-standing partisan gameplay mechanics were just basically removed entirely. Like, this is one of the core features of being a partisan, is like being able to move things with a crane. Besides any of these, I mean, Ted, do you want to keep going?
Yeah, so the big deal really was just that the reason that we made this change was because of that whole easy to kill plane frames, and that's been fixed. That's been fixed. The large vehicles have now also got the anchoring feature, so you can anchor your vehicle down. Don't have to worry about that with the cranes. Just generally, the entire reason that this crane change was made in the first place has now been fixed, and there just is not a reason for it anymore. So we can go ahead and revert this change. That's about it, I think.
Slide. Let's pick up the pace. We do have the meeting coming up soon. Let's make sure we get to that on time.
All right. So for frontline hero, this is something that we really looked into because, a lot of the gameplay is around pushing the front, not just backline. So we made it so we
back
can
on the echo,
produce
back on the echo.
Oh,
It's fixed.
disaster. All right. So we're really focusing on this, making it easier to get more of the niche weapons by allowing all facility locked weapons to be produced in the factory at an increased cost, of course. As we looked at it, and then we just didn't see them get used as much, and we want to reduce like a player making a fact just for like 10 crates of stuff. It's not really engaging, but if you do want to mass produce this, it will be cheaper to make in a facility. Powerful air raid siren upgrade. It doesn't. It's I think what was it, 100 to 200 meters, right? Notification that you're getting raided.
I don't remember.
I believe it was that. It doesn't give you too much time to react, but it gives you something. So you don't have someone sitting in a train while their facility is getting blown up due to paratroopers or a bomber. Infantry can now mount themselves onto and sit on the sides of tanks. We thought this was more just interesting. It made tanks more dynamic. It allowed them to move infantry to be used as a troop mover, basically. Of course, they're exposed and at more risk of dying to arty, but I think we'll have some use. If a bomb lands on a tank and their hatch is open, it kills the crew because it just doesn't really make sense why they wouldn't die from that. Hatch is open, bomb hits you, shockwaves goes through the tank, kills the guy on top, should kill everyone, just for the realism vision. But here's the big one. Bulk reloading will now be a feature for everything that has a mag, I would call it. Like the Brigand, the Forebreaker, the Fissura, anything that can fire multiple shots, has multiple shots in the chamber, can now load all of them at once instead of having to spam R. We first implemented this on the DD, and we're just expanding it to everything else. So if you are doing these bulk type of loadings, it is faster than loading one by one. We also want to make it so where we're actually, for certain tanks, like a good example of the Brigand, you're actually pushing up and not just sitting around trying to poke. This should reward people to actually move forward, be more aggressive, and spice up the gameplay a little bit. Barbed wire fence has been reduced from 10,000 HP to 1,000. I think someone added an extra 0 there. We're finally catching it up, and we're making it so you're not going to be able to just use that to block a bunch of damage from things like Cutler or Satchels or anything else.
All right, I think we
Next.
gotta speed up a lot. We're gonna have to.
We're gonna miss this meeting.
Yeah, we gotta speed up. We haven't even got to the best
The
part.
shareholders will not be happy.
All right, Quitch Hatch. We increased its range and we reduced its fire rate. Excellent. Quality of life. I think ping pong. You like big shadows, right?
Quick fire ping pong. So, artillery shells cast a shadow 0.5 seconds for impact. If you have frame perfect dodge abilities, if you want to parry it, you can try, but you better get out of the way in half a second. The bombs cast shadow seconds for impact. Again, you got a bit more time there than you would with an artillery shell. A bit more time to move out of the way. Again, better move. The audio queue has been added as well, and there's an aircraft diamond queue as well. Again, just dodge, just parry it, just say no, just parry it. Next slide, please. Rapid fire. Buried infantry mechanic. You can bury a life. You can have to climb out of that hole like a mole. Players, when they can't do anything but type in local. They're just gonna have to scream for help and claw at the dirt before they eventually get either suffocated to death or released from their dirty grave by somebody with a shovel. You've got 30 seconds to live, so you better hope somebody's nearby with a shovel fast. They can be rescued. Just shovel them out, and then you have 2 or more. So you need to drag out their arms, and they're quite heavy because they're all like segmented in dirt. So you need to drag them out by the arms. Next slide, please. You can maim limbs off infantry, so you can lose an arm, which is where the healthcare mechanic comes in, as we mentioned before. You can get disability if you're missing a limb from combat when you retire from Vauxhall eventually. If you're missing an arm or a leg, you're going to get a peg leg or a peg arm. You're just going to wave it around like a big wooden stick. Baby infantry, they can crawl around as well for the time being until you get that peg arm or peg leg. And if you've lost a leg, you can hop around like a rabbit, or you can crawl if you want to be on the floor instead of hopping around like a little rabbit with one leg. And the current state of 14.5 millimillimeters. Yeah. So anybody who watched,
I'll handle this one. Yeah,
go for it, mate.
So basically, previous 14.5 millimeter update, the infantry update,
Yes, I know the
massively
shufflers.
nerfed it. It increased. It gave resistances. Basically, nerfed the damage by 6 times against heavy armor tanks. That's light tanks and above, and nerfed the damage by 1/3 against light tanks. So light armor, sorry. So ACs and half tracks. It technically increased 80 damage to armor health, but that's not actually true because the damage was reduced. In exchange, it automatically penned armor, but no longer disabled vehicle subsystems. The impacts are pretty clear. 14.5 millimeter weaponry is now almost useless against heavy armored vehicles, so light tanks and up. And it strongly nerfed both the combat effectiveness and the ability to strip armor of 14.5 millimeter weapons and vehicles. Next slide, please. So as you can see, this is a small graph of how 14.5mm performs against Kali light tanks. You can see the dotted line is the current 14.5mm and the straight lines are the previous 20mm. So as you can see, the effective damage you need to deal to kill a light tank has massively increased, and this is not something we actually wanted. Next slide, please. This is exactly the same thing, but for the MPT. As you can see, in the best case scenarios, you could kill an MPT with 20mm shots. This is, of course, not something that we want to reproduce now, but it still allowed 14.5mm to be useful late game. Currently, it takes 130 20mm shots to kill MPT on average, which is way more than necessary. Next slide, please. So what do we want to do to fix the current issues with 14.5mm? Of course, if we were reverting only the damage nerf but keeping automatic penetration, then 14.5 would be exceedingly powerful at long ranges. Imagine if you could only take 20 40 meter range shots to kill an MPT, that would be much too powerful. However, if you only reverse the automatic penetration while keeping the damage nerf, then you're basically making it even worse. So what did we decide on? We wanted to do a hybrid damage model, so have some part of the damage necessitate penetration, so basically only guaranteed damage at close range, and then have a base damage amount that works like the current 14.5mm. We've also mildly reduced the resistance of heavy armored vehicles to 14.5mm, while keeping the current resistance of light armored vehicles, because 14.5mm is still very much viable during early war. We are still making it so that 14.5mm is enabled to disable subsystems. Why? Because that was a source of very unpleasant gameplay loop due to massive RNG, making it so that the tank would be turreted on the first shot by a highwayman, for example. Of course, this will be adjusted according to feedback and usage. Our objective is just to have them have decent damage late war, while making it so that they are more powerful at close range than long range, which seems pretty much logical. Of course, there's a study online if you want to look it up, Siege Camp, Marlborough, and at Alumni.
Okay,
Next slide, please.
The people say that you are, they don't want to hear you anymore, so.
Very sad. Okay.
Yeah,
You deserved it.
Here's more graphs. You want to touch on the UXO?
So yeah, UXO is unexploded ordnance. This used to be something that was in the legacy foxhole. A lot of people used to probably remember and recognize this. Click twice, please. Unexploded ordnances can be found either through digging or finding unexploded ordnance on the front line from arty shells and from artillery being deployed. They can be uncovered and must be dug with 5 shovel tops. However, there is a slight chance that the UXO may explode. Currently, it's at 5%, though we might bump it up to 10%. And they can also then be brought to refineries and refined for HE mats and EMATs. So we hope this adds another frontline logistics loop for players to bring stuff from the front line back to the logi backline. This one a lot of players have been asking for, listening kits and faction status. So now if you're looking for a listening kit, you can actually see whether or not it is your faction or the enemy faction.
All right, so I think this is like the meat and potatoes that we've actually been wanting to get to, is the new assets that people were trying to get into the game. So I believe we have one of the asset creators talking about the C. Hansen. Do we have them currently in the chat?
I don't believe we have the asset creator, but I am willing to talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about the C. Hansen Predator Destroyer.
All right. So this is the C. Hansen Mark IV. It's one of my favorites of the update. This is focusing on more combined arms. This will help you in the new jungle region too. So say you're fighting on a front line and there's a sub in region, you can take to the waters and go hunt down the sub. This has a fully modeled interior. The loaders inside will have to run around to the ammo racks and load the guns and the depth charge launchers.
We were really inspired by some creators in the community, they showed us this video of a Super Heavy on top of an iron ship, and we thought, why don't we just make it that the Super Heavy itself can just swim, right? We didn't want to limit players going around, and we know Warden's really struggling at the sea, so we really wanted to give them a new tank that they could use in naval operations. So this is like it's also a different way for players to explore naval. We know like a lot of people want to do naval, but they also like tank gameplay. So we thought, why not just make two of the same? So yeah, let's keep going. Is Big Intern here?
Yes, hello.
All right, you want
That's
to talk
me, Big
about how
Intern.
this affects naval?
Yeah, like we believe that with the another asset that will come up in a little second here, there will be much more of a need to fight submersible vehicles, and so we strongly believe that adding additional depth charge carrying equipment will be very useful, especially to the wardens.
Right. We also have for the colonials, we got a new vehicle going up. It's a new tankette because we know that colonials are really kind of short in the tankette department. Ping pong, I know you didn't really like this, so can you tell us about the
Absolutely broken.
yeah,
Borderline, and it's
so
unacceptable.
yeah, can you tell us about what
Yeah.
we
The introduction of this is like the colonials getting the H340. It's a desecration of the 75mm as the Wardens have with the stockade. Putting the 75mm on a tankette is straight sacrilege, and the collies should not have this a weapon. It is an absolute fiend on the battlefield, as our preliminary testing has discovered. And the colonial, if they mass produce this, it might be over for the Warden faction. Let me tell you that. If like Kiwi or any other notable collie decides to have like 15 of these in a big line on concrete, it's over for any sort of Warden defenses. It's over. It's actually over. It is literally over. Sell everything. It's over.
Well, do you want to explain why we added this to the game if it's so game
I
breaking?
think I can take over
Yeah,
from
go
here,
ahead.
honestly.
Go for it. I'm gonna have to see you keep on.
So, I mean, as my counterpart, Ping Pong has illustriously illustrated with how strong this will be, we do want to make it clear that this will take the base tankette variant and you will need to upgrade it, and it costs the same amount as an SHT. So it's a super heavy tank cost, plus you have to modify the tankette as well on top of that. So this will not be as spammable as people may think.
I think you forgot to mention that this vehicle is produced in crates of 3, so I think it is a bit more spammable than you might already assume.
That's what we got Dead Branch for. The game will balance.
Yeah, we can
itself.
adjust it on Death Branch. It's like either crates of 5 or crates of 3, or maybe just one crate.
All right. Next, this is a bit of a faction neutral change, so I think Ping Pong is going to be much happier.
Oh yeah. The biggest pain of any sort of train logi operation is, of course, the cranes. You rock up to a salvage field with all of your resource containers. You want to fill up your train with scrap, but you can't because somebody's, taken or killed the crane. They're taking it for their LARP fact. So what are you going to do? Well, no more is that problem. That problem's gone. You can put in a flatbed crane on your train and work around with it. It's really good at getting rid of stuff. It's got a pretty long range, though the model doesn't sort of justify. It has a similar range to the Skytrain. So you can reach easily. If you put it in the middle of your train, you can reach sort of towards the front and the back, or the containers. Get off, put them on the salvage field, scrap to your heart's content. If you want to drop off to like a makeshift frontline depot, you can do so as well. Really making the logi gameplay and train gameplay as well a hell of a lot more dynamic than it currently is. No longer are you shackled by the inaccessibility of cranes or well structures, for you have a crane on your train right at your disposal.
Yeah. Also, we're using a lot of the code from the Skyholer, so like the Sky Crane. So it has the ability to pick up even the heaviest of items, and it has a similar range to it. We really want people to expand train-based logistics. We think like this would help not just train yards, but also like say if you wanted to do an artillery operation, it's much more feasible just to bring a train down with pallets, and you don't have to go and scrounge around for a train anymore, or sorry, crane. You can just indigenously do it yourself. Also, the crane can also transport an item while it's in movement. So if you undeploy the crane and you have something like a hook onto it, it can move it, if you're wondering. So it also functions as a storage.
Non-large item. If it's a large item, it will
Yeah.
not be able to move.
You can't sneak an RSC on it.
No,
or
unfortunately
SHT,
not.
for instance.
No, unfortunately not.
Regrettably.
Yeah, that has to be it. Right. We still don't have the modeler for this, right? I don't believe so.
No, we did not. They're currently actually on vacation right now.
Fuck. Okay.
I thought they were pregnant.
I can go on this.
Yeah, talk about.
No, that's a different modeler. So this is the Horizon Zon Anti-Air Mark II combat car. A lot of players have been requesting some sort of anti-air train car, and we just decided to make a really large one. I mean, if we're gonna have combat cars, especially armored combat car variants, we might as well have an AA combat car capability as well. And so hopefully this will be able to fill your cart's content. You can park this anywhere. So imagine if you have a storm cannon, right? And you need to do an RSC up, you can now have this defend your RSC against other planes that may be coming within the area. This has an AI mode and it also has a player control mode. So when this is placed and deployed, it will have AI, but you can also change the deployment to be player based. So then players can manipulate it and use it as well.
Yeah, the crew factor, it just means people that are internally in. It doesn't factor in the guns and the mounts. Those are considered separate for people asking.
Bad about it my way, this would have been a Warden exclusive thing.
Well, unfortunately, you're not in charge, so.
We had to give the collies something.
Yeah. Well, I guess we gave everyone something. All right.
I think cattle.
All right, Big Intern, you want to take the reins? People have been wanting to hear you speak for a long time.
All right. So, of course, we noticed there's a lot of things that are still left to be desired in the naval aspect of this game at the moment. So, first of all, we're looking at some QOL here. For example, firing certain weapons will no longer cancel border travel. I think a lot of players know this. They're in their ship, they're trying to cross a border, and a player sees like some enemy and decides to cancel the 60-second cooldown that it takes you to cross this border by shooting, for example, one of the secondary armaments or a machine gun. This will no longer cancel your crossing to mitigate the frustrations there. Also, a lot of the naval hexes have observation towers and so on that can technically look into other hexes, so to speak, and this will actually now function. However, it's important to mention that this does not include intel given by ships like the Longhook, for example. Also, this is another change we're really excited about. The printing at the dry dock is now tied to the squad that the dry dock is reserved to, assuming that it is reserved to a squad. So no longer will you have this issue that, you know, you had your ship parts prepared already and some random guy just comes up and, for example, starts printing like, a bowhead or something that you don't really need, and that would block your dry docks operations for the foreseeable future. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Also, we've got some bigger naval changes coming up here. So the first one will be that when you're printing a ship at the dry dock, you will be able to name your ship, and it will be displayed as was seen in the little trailer on the side of your ship, so that the enemy and also friendlies can really quickly figure out, if maybe they have fought this ship before, maybe this ship sunk them, something like this. I think we made this change because it can really add to the depth and role-playing aspects of this game. Also, a thing that we saw the community requesting for a long time is a destroyer rework, and this is connected to a change coming up here in a second. We revisited its ammunition counts because we saw that there is a discrepancy of 100 shells compared to its warden counterpart, the frigate, and we decided to increase the shell amount by 50 because, as you guys can see in the next bullet point, it will also be needing this extra shells as we are adding a new anti-air shell that can be utilized by the main guns. As well, on the destroyer rear, we are revisiting the middle compartment, so behind the engine of it, there will be a little gap where a player can fit through to increase the movability in this compartment, as we heard a lot of complaints about this, hindering damage control and so on. As well, we heard a lot of complaints that anti-air on ships is really lacking, especially since the most recent updates by the main team, which added anti-air to tanks. We decided that ships should also have better capabilities fending off air attacks. So we are giving an AA mode to the secondary guns and to the main guns, obviously utilizing the new AA shell. And then we also will have a new island region to show you guys here in a second. As well, we have got a tiny list of more changes. We've got new naval vehicles for you guys. This will be the Warden Escort Carrier Pool, the Colonial Submarine Carrier Hyperion, a large liquid ship called the BMS Sterntail. This one will be faction neutral, and the Colonial Warden and light large ships called Kulkia and Ranger. As well as these new ships, we are doing a naval aviation / carrier revisit where we're implementing a new type of runway. This will be the aircraft carrier type of runway, and aircraft, depending on this runway, will not be able to take off from the water or from a normal runway, whether it be tier 1 or tier 2. As well as that, large ship spotters, like binoculars, for example, will now be able to look upward to see what aircraft is actually attacking them. And we are adding 2 new strike aircraft. So this we will showcase these to you in a second, and we've been working really hard on these. But maybe Mr. Siege Camp Interpreter wants to say a few things to this really quickly as well, as he's been working with me on it.
Thank you. I'd actually like to add that he didn't mention it, but we've managed to completely fix this strategy called power bucketing, where players would fill a bucket and drop it on the floor. This no longer exists. That's it.
All right, amazing. Now, to the new naval ammunitions, we added the 120 93.7A Mk2 anti-aircraft shell. This one will be utilized by the Black Steel, the Callahan, the Trident, the Titan, and the Conqueror. We've added a anti-air mode to these respective ships' 120mm guns. They will utilize this shell, and it will work similarly to a flak gun already works in the game. The loaders will be, of course, needed to supply the correct ammunition type to the gun to be able to utilize this mode as it should be utilized. We also decided to add a anti-aircraft mode that works similar to the anti-aircraft mode of the already existing 12.7 machine guns the ships have to the secondary armaments such as 68mm, 40 or 30. And in case you're wondering, the AA ammunition will go in so-called separate slot so that the gunner can also press F, similar to on like a gunboat, to swap the type of shell they are wanting to load in. I think most of this is pretty self-explanatory.
Do we have one of the modelers for this?
No, I believe he is, as was mentioned earlier, on vacation.
Yeah.
But I think I can
give a quick overview.
Or do you want to? Yeah, we can give a quick overview. So basically, with the carrier rework, we have looked into what carriers existed already in the game, and we have found that the colonials at the moment have a flat top carrier, while the wardens have more like a sea tender esque situation going on. And we decided to change this up a little bit. So we're adding to the colonial faction the so-called ACC Hyperion seaplane tender, which is based off the Trident, and it will be still having some torpedoes and losing its 120mm gun and underway replenishing 4 torpedoes in order to have a crane to be able to deploy colonial scout planes, and of course the ability to store a few. Maybe Mr. Interpreter would like to say a few more things about this. If not, then we can.
I'd actually like to say we are currently considering adding a mechanic in our internal dev branch that includes a way for the new scout plane that we introduced in Update 64 that doesn't land on water to be launched as a kamikaze aircraft from the submarine.
Yeah, but this is still in development.
Yes, this is still a new development. We can't speak much more on that.
Yeah,
Right,
it's not
let's
coming
continue.
out in this update, so just
All right, this one is, we're very excited to present this one to you guys. This one is the Warden Escort Carrier, the Vesipool Mk1B. It is based off a Black Steel frigate that was converted into an aircraft carrier. It will essentially function similar to a Poseidon. However, due to it being smaller, it will have a smaller capacity to carry airplanes. Important about this one is that it does retain the original frigate's 68mm guns. It will be able to carry, planes on the top deck, of course, and having a internal storage for 8 airplanes. And of course, this one utilizes the new runway type I mentioned earlier, called the carrier type runway. And I believe we can continue. Another thing we saw the community was really requesting a lot were smaller large ship types. So we are introducing some new support ships. This one is the Warden Medium Patrol Boat called the Killcam. It basically, our idea here is that it is a support ship to the large ships that can help fend off a large ship against, for example, like a Zerk of gunboats. And of course, it's carrying a dedicated flak gun on the back to support against air attacks. And here we have the colonial counterpart. This one is called the Ranger. It has a 75mm deck gun on the front and again has a flak gun on the back. Now, another thing that we are really excited about after the bowhead got introduced, we looked at it and we're like, okay, maybe we should do the same thing but for fuel. And essentially, this one is functioning similar to the bowhead, but its main focus is that it can carry a lot of fuel in it. It, aside from this, functions exactly like a bowhead would, and of course comes with the naval AI gun on the back.
Big intern. Can I add on to this?
Of course.
So with this one, there's an experimental feature we're working on for when this ship sinks, it causes an oil spill and the water around it gets set on fire. It's a very experimental feature, and sadly, we did not have time to model a crane for this one either.
And this feature you mentioned may lead to some interesting gameplay mechanics, we believe, where, for example, if such a ship were to be sunk in a vital choke point, the area, of course, would be not traversable for a little while and may cause some interesting gameplay.
I would like to add, it does go a little bit deeper with this experimental mechanic. As said, it does cause an oil spill, but that is only for smaller, less volatile liquids such as diesel, petrol. If you have enriched oil, it will entirely explode within a 200-meter radius, and the entire area will be set on fire. All structures instantly tier 5 fire.
Remember, this is just stuff that's only on the drawing board. We have yet to implement this stuff.
Yeah, these are all in works.
All right.
Don't forget about the rules of works.
Oh, for the mentioned strike aircraft, of course, with the new carrier system, we looked at how carriers were performing in these last wars and realized that they were much more of a defensive tool than we had originally hoped for. And so we're looking to change that up a little bit by adding 2 strike aircraft to each faction. These will be able, no, 1 per faction, but 2 in total. These will be able to carry a small bomb load that will hopefully give the carriers a little bit more bite. And what is, of course, very important to mention about these airplanes, that without a carrier, they cannot be used. and we're hoping that this can maybe get us a little bit more closer to carrier warfare, as we believe the Devman may have intended. And here we have the Warden counterpart. They will functionally be very similar. However, they are, of course, based off the fighter variants of each faction, and therefore the performance of these fighters can be expected to be very similar. And what, of course, is very important, as you guys can see on both pictures, they do have foldable wings that the pilots need to unfold, so to speak, before they can take off.
And again, these can only take off the carrier. These cannot take off on land.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
this one is one we looked at a lot of player feedback and regarding this piece of equipment, and we decided that it would be a really, really good idea to simply get rid of it. We looked at a lot of options on how we could balance this piece of equipment, how could it be made possible in the gameplay sense to essentially keep a rewarding naval gameplay happening while this thing existed without nerfing it to a point where it either would become fully useless or stay in its currently very strong and powerful position of being able to almost single-handedly end a naval operation. And we come to the conclusion that the most simple way to balance it would simply be to remove this piece of equipment.
I might make a concession here as well. With the Warden faction as it currently is, we are pretty damn good at naval, if we do say so ourselves. So it did make a lot of sense to get rid of this one.
By the way, we're all Warden.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's just like
Yeah, definitely all Warden.
Siege Camp only hires Wardens anyway, so.
Sure, they should.
Regardless, we put a lot of thought into what the collies could have if we were to get rid of this one. We did a lot of testing, did a lot of research, and eventually we came to the conclusion that we should have this one. So this is a completely different design from what the Wardens had. It's a highly unique concept. As a Moray torpedo, a bit of a different look, unique concept. It's green as you would expect for a collie vehicle.
Yeah,
it's not much to say. It's a great looking thing.
The people here at Siege Camp, we worked really hard on creating this asset. It took a long time for us to think of how we can give a torpedo bomber to the Colonials, and we asked our modeling team a really lot to make a unique design, and not just something that was like paint over and identical in features.
I think they came up with a very unique design.
Yep, I'm seeing questions in the chat asking why it's not open top. It actually is. You just can't see it. The wings are currently blocking it. The entire top back is open, and the pilots can in fact be shot out.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that this is actually scaled down a lot to the point where it can land on the colonial aircraft carrier.
Mm-hmm. And we also thought that just because we should give it some extended range, just because we know that Colonials definitely they don't have enough when it comes in terms of like mobile, aircraft, like naval aircraft. So we thought just to give it more range as well, because we learned a lot from the previous. We tried to bring the torpedo bomber and it was really powerful. So we decided that we would actually like take a step back. We'd learn a little bit from the torpedo bomber implementation, and then how we can do it properly. And this is like the best idea he came up with.
Time. Just remember time.
Oh yeah, time.
Investors, I think I'm
all right. So this is another feature we were really excited to work on, because we noticed that ever since the Airborne, there has been a huge request to bring the east to west and west to east ocean border crossing back. And we looked into how we could maybe bring this feature back in a new and engaging way for the players. So what we have come up with is that in order for you to take your ship from the west to the east or the east to the west, you will need to go through this new naval hex. It's called Big Rakuka. And I know Mr. Siege Camp Defender can share more on the design that went into this, but the overall idea is that there will be a strong point in between the world, so to speak, that can be controlled by one faction, and of course would be of big benefit for the other faction to take in order to maybe pass across the world undetected. And yeah, I believe this one will also feature a victory point, and so it will be a very important place each war. Mr. Defender.
For players worried about victory point inflation, we are accounting for that. Currently, we're experimenting with adding VPs to naval hexes in order to make naval gameplay even more important. And the design philosophy behind Big Rakuka was to create one large island where players that would have control over it, whichever faction it would have to make sure that they would build strong defenses and withhold and withlast the siege. And so, as you can see, there are actually two VPs. You have Radio Kanava, and you also have Pula Nasama, a star fort. And so, players will actually have to take the two VPs. And before the two VPs are even taken, you'll see that there are also keeps spread amongst the island. These keeps will need to be taken in order to register the captured VPs as faction VP count.
Can someone deal with that mod? Thank you. I think that we're almost at the end. We just want to show off all the concept art that we couldn't really go over in this dev stream, and also that unfortunately we couldn't use, but we thought it'd be really cool to show off. So, but
I think it's appropriate that I talk about this. So with the new update, we worked so much on delivering quality of life features, and we also put some time into developing new assets, and a lot of those you have seen showcased before, but we also took some time to create some concept art for the next updates that will be delivered in part over the next upcoming update, and also on update 68, I think, if I am correct, right?
Yes. There's no update 6.7.
I believe you are correct.
Yes,
and again,
okay.
all this art is done by an individual. This is not AI.
Yes. We have, So we have the new amphibious vehicles that are actually coming over this update. The amphibious tanks. These are my design. We designed those to be usable in the jungle hexes, and to be kind of alternative to light tanks, where they cannot be where they cannot cross, and where there's no bridges. So the particularities of these tanks is that they will shoot slightly faster than light tanks to account for their increased cost. I think that's
we
it
all
about
know
them.
you'll go into that name.
The design process was kind of slow and methodical. I think we can go on to the next slide with something way more interesting. Yes. So we have the new super tanks. So we have a super medium tank for the colonials, the Lens 67 Goliath, that will serve as a direct counter to the Warden Bulwark destroyer. So it's a Silverhand upgrade that is built from a mix of naval turbines and other large parts, and it is assembled at a brand new facility building. The the Warlord, the Silverhand Mark 14 Warlord, will be visible on the map for all to see, because this is such a huge asset that it can be spotted by everyone.
We
And
also, sorry if I just interrupt.
yes,
The
yes,
reason
go
why
on.
we needed to add the Bulwark Destroyer because we added more bulwarks, so we needed a way for players to work together as a team to actually defeat that. This was like the kind of the countermeasure that we alluded to earlier. We were thinking potentially of just adding a trampoline facility variant to a lot of vehicles, but we decided that we were going to go against that, and rather we were going to have players have to work across a couple of days together. Multiple, like thousands of people will have to work together to create one of these assets and foster team play.
Exactly.
I personally designed this one just so we could get rid of the extra bulwarks, and who knows, maybe the trampoline might make an appearance in the future, just to make things there.
Yes.
Continue.
Yeah, some particularity is that this shoots a 900 millimeter shell that is only loadable by crane and only transportable on flatbeds. It will take up a lot of enriched oil, so we will have to tune the balance, because I think the amount of oil this will consume is a bit overbearing at the moment.
Yeah, we might need a parade.
We
of
also
fuel
did
cars.
a Super Falchion, Super MPT. It's a cheaper version of the MPT, the mass production tank, meant to kind of complete the colonial roster of equipment. As you can see on the slide, it is a very economical design, and the main armament is 792. Yes.
It's high velocity,
Um,
792 as well.
Yeah, high velocity.
Right, are we good to go on to the
Okay.
next?
Yes. So the kamikaze aircraft for the colonial faction. So since the Warden have 6 planes, we figured that we would make a new plane for the colonial faction, specifically a kamikaze plane to show their commitment to strike and cheap attacks and cheap equipment. This might be cheap for the damage it does. It goes really fast too. I mean, it's kind of OP.
Yeah. Ping Pong, do you want to elaborate on why we decided to give this as a colonial exclusive weapon?
Of course. So as we all know, the collies are the faction of plenty. They've got a lot of materials, a lot of vehicles. They generally, make a ton. They really took the whole war eco thing to heart. So I think it would have made the most sense to give them a vehicle like this, and to not share your browser.
Nope.
Go on stream. It, so these are quite reduced as the thing, but there shouldn't be too much of a lapse in skill when we do get this. It's quite easy to pilot too, so any private can just hop in, start it, extend in towards a bunker line or or shit, anything really. So it's quite dynamic, quite versatile as to how this can be used.
It looks like the stream's dying.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think pool might be down.
What is going? But yeah, that's the.
It's the whole is down at the moment.
Is the
Wait,
stream
it's
down?
actually
We could
Streams, but I don't take
Didn't
him
get
down.
picked, but the recording is dead.
Blizzard's got it.
No, it's
The-
just
the
went
cam-
offline officially.
So I can't see it. I can't see it on this.
Right, I'm trying to restart. I'm trying to restart.
Yeah. Let me know. I'll pick up as if nothing happened. Let's go back to that slide.
All right. Let us know if you can hear us. We Siege Camp Defender. Are you there?
I'm
We
currently
can't hear
just
anything
got
till
fucking
then.
hit by a DDoS attack.
Yeah.
Got hit by the kamikaze plane.
No, we got hit by a drone.
We got hit by the kamikaze plane. So
Yeah.
before we were so rudely interrupted by the kamikaze plane we were discussing.
Yeah.
Easy to produce, easy to pilot, easy to send into bunker base or RSC a nuke, whatever. Cheap, cheerful, perfect for the colonial faction. Minimal thought required, because they clearly can't be trusted with anything too complex, can't they?
Are you sure? Because in airborne we announced that aircraft require skill to fly. How are they going to overcome that?
I think that we can walk that statement back slightly. This isn't really flying. This is
It
this is
takes skill to
guiding an
fly.
artillery
It does not
strike.
take skill to crash.
It does. Yeah, that's exactly the thought. Exactly. Took the word straight out of my mouth.
Do we have the concept artist for this one yet?
I don't know. We do not.
All right, Defender, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so the new open top sub hunter. So, thinking about designing a new plane for the wardens to play around with. Honestly, this model is kind of key to our hearts when we think of what the warden faction would like to have when they're playing around. This has a low aerial silhouette profile, so when like Artie's shooting it, this thing can easily avoid artillery. It's extremely maneuverable because of the forward swept wings. It's very fuel efficient. However, warning, it is very slow and it's open top at the same time. And the plan is for this to be an asset later that will be able to hunt submarines and also drop depth charges on top of subs. It currently does not have any way to detect submarines. However, in coordination with a frigate or a freighter, it'll be able to hunt down subs.
I don't think we have
Yeah.
our artist for this one. If you want to talk
So
about
not.
That was me.
Oh yeah,
we have
yeah.
our
Go
artist.
ahead.
Very
Sorry.
nice.
Yeah, hey, I'm the siege camp janitor. They just kind of pulled me out of the hallway and told me to draw a monitor, so I made these. So apparently Foxhole has this thing like a 300 millimeter cannon. So I like took it off of the building and just sort of put it on a ship, and that's essentially all there is to it, really. I saw that Colonials had like a bunch of angles and stuff on their guns, and like a couple of SMGs and such that had like hexagonal barrels and stuff, and I thought I'd just make a Colonial version of a storm cannon. So yeah, that's all there is to it. I just mop floors here.
All right. We also have the boarding frigate or boarding destroyer.
Yeah, so this one I think is going to be really fun once we actually start messing around with the model. As players can see, this is our heavy flamer close combat destroyer. So instead of just long range engagements where ships are fighting hundreds of meters away from each other, this will be meant for close range combat. As you can see, it has a heavy flamethrower. This has 45-meter range. It has fuel tanks as well, rangefinder, and it also has a pneumatic man projector, so you can launch infantry in order to board the enemy vessel. And on top of that, there's also the Corvus boarding ramp, where essentially there's kind of like a big boarding ramp on the front that will be able to drop and winch itself and hook on to the enemy ship and easily deploy troops onto the front line.
Yeah, so this is the flamethrower rework. So we figured that flamethrowers were a bit underwhelming because in real life flamethrowers actually dispense a liquid, a flammable liquid that lingers on the ground and burns everything around it. And in game, what we have is basically an aerosolized spray of fire. So we revamped the fire to match real life better. As you guys can see, we have the Warden Flamers performing very well, and the Colonial Light Tank Flamer. And the particularity of the Light Tank Flamer is it's more suited for close combat. engagements. Yeah, for more closer engagements. That's all I have to say. Oh yeah, and while Jack can shoot over the bulwark.
Can I add to this?
Go
I
ahead.
think you forgot to mention something. You forgot
Yes.
to mention that the Warden flamethrowers, because they have such a longer range, you actually have to fire them in indirect fire modes, just like artillery. But the Colonial one, we thought that they didn't know how to do that, so we just decided to make it direct fire, only about like 5 meters of range. So you just have to go into melee combat with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a long-awaited feature. It's the artillery train cars. We at the intern studio designed those earlier in the development process, and the colonial one was created first when we are less experienced. So bear with us a bit. As you guys can see, the designs are 150 millimeter cannons, and they fire at around 175 meters to keep it not too broken. And the descriptions are switched up, flipped wrong. I am sure this is a little mistake.
Yeah, this is another concept art that they got me to do. So they basically wanted a crane on a train. So I just sat down at their computer and just did that. Like it's a crane on a train on a cart on another train on a track. So you can deploy it, and then you can go down the rails on it, and then you can deploy it again so that you can reach both of the carts on either side of it. And yeah, that's really all there is to that. So press the button.
Yeah, so we're not talking about the new melee weapons. The new melee weapons. I think a lot of people will be excited for this. This will be coming in a later update with the new Warden Club and the Colonial Infantry Dagger, I believe it's called. We want to expand on that and add more options for infantry to use whenever they're facing combat within the trenches and close quarters CBQ, QBC. So hopefully this fills a gap, and also when we're thinking of adding underground, especially with the very expansive caves system in the Mesa biome, I believe, this should hopefully fill in the gap and give infantry more options, so like throwing knives, a morning star, a halberd trench clearer, and a warhammer.
Exactly. And additionally, we may add some of these as lore items, similar to how the bloody rifle works. So each server reset, there will only be one of these that can be found on the world map, looted, and then of course used in combat. So seeing some of these maybe in the future should be like a special special thing and add to the immersion of the lore that we have got going on at the moment.
All right, I think that's it for the concept art. We can go do some more community projects that are in the works, but not by our team directly. All right.
Yeah, so that's the Foxhole RTS. It's called Rifles Ready. The Foxhole RTS has been silently in development for just about a year now. We plan on having a fully functional multiplayer
Think of one more
mode
slide.
with many different maps. Yeah, can you forward one slide, please? It's a completely different team than the Foxhole intern team. The veterans will automatically have access with anybody who bought the Foxhole Support Edition. We'll have a fully featured multiplayer up to 4 players. You can pick whichever faction you want, so you can do a normal skirmish mode like you're used to in Foxhole, or you can do a civil war. Community involvement will be encouraged, so we'll have open roles for voice acting and such and 3D modeling. We will also have a fully featured single-player campaign, which will follow the exploits of notable in-game characters, exploring the ancient and current lore of Foxhole. And we're gonna hope to have open playtesting by the middle of summer, if not the very end of summer.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. I want to give a huge shout out to our intern team. We have a lot of interns you probably saw. So this project for Finest Hour couldn't have happened without. It was a lot larger in scope than our previous quality of life update. And so we just want to make sure that we appreciate every single one of the people who made this possible for our intern team. The intern team, unfortunately, I'm being promoted actually from an intern to a Foxhole dev, so I will be going incognito, and I unfortunately will have to hand the reins of the intern team to someone else. So it is truly unfortunate. I think that's our
We'll
final.
continue the project while Mr. Siege Camp Catapult is gone. So we are not.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll all be back. Well, no guarantees on that. All right, perfect. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I will see you, and remember to stay foxy. Yeah, if we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, good night.